First, let's get out of this this career principle mindset, and now let's get into technical mindset. Okay, so let's take a technical avatar here, guys. Good. So what is going to happen? Yesterday or in the past week, we have built our first application, right? We have built our first Spring Boot application called as First App. And we created some REST API in that, like addition related. So we understood, okay, something REST API. We created it as a Spring Boot application. We understood start.spring.io, some libraries, framework code is already available. You can take that and make easy applications. Very good. We did that. We worked with Maven. We added some dependencies like DevTools. We learned a lot of small things about server, about port, a lot of small things we discussed, which is daily going to come in our life. Next, we launched yesterday concept of profile, and we understood same application will be running in multiple environments. And then how the profile comes in picture. This much amount of thing we did. And for testing this, we use Postman. This is what we completed in the last week. A kind of main summary, but a lot of other things were also discussed. Okay, fine. Now the thing is, we spoke about this. We will be having local environment, nothing but when you're testing in your local machine, you will be doing the testing in the local environment. When you're testing in, let's say, dev environment, same project will run in multiple, right? QA, UAT, and then prod. So generally, any kind of cloud provider can be used. We have multiple cloud providers in the market. Code can run in AWS, code can run in Azure, code can run in GCP, or code can run in any other cloud provider. Okay, a lot of providers are there. Your company will decide where you want to run. But let's say you decide AWS is very old now, very common and very popular, and reasonable services are available with AWS. So all these rest of the environments will be running, let's say, in AWS. So this is the dev environment. This is QA. This is UAT. This is prod. Yesterday we said different people will do testing in different environments. Developers will do testing here. Testers will do testing. QA means quality analyst. Some people will use this terminology. Quality analyst. People might call different terms. Okay, so but the basic is they do testing. Next, UAT, user acceptance testing. Some people call this environment also as staging environment. So some terminologies might change from project to project. And sometimes people might say this is a pre-prod environment, pre-prod kind of environment. They might just talk multiple terms for this one. Next, there is a production system. Some companies might say, no, let's create separate for UAT, separate for staging or pre-prod. Again, it depends. It's just some environment designed for specific kind of testing. Okay, fine. And now this is local environment. Now this is local environment. One thing you need to understand, all these things are happening, let's say, in a cloud platform. Prod, dev, these things are happening in cloud platform. Basically, cloud is where everything is running 24/7. Always up and running, right? Just imagine, you need to, yesterday we coded this service. If you are starting this service, right click, run as, let's say we start this service. Okay, so this service is started. You can go here, you can make this API call. Result is coming, logs are printed. Okay, so now the service is working, but the problem here is, as soon as I turn off my laptop, automatically this service is going to be down. But in the world, all the websites, they should always run 24/7. So it needs to have some kind of machines, right? Machines are needed where your code can run always 24/7. Now you have two choices. You purchase machines, nothing but let's say you buy some laptops. You buy some laptops and you say, I will run these laptops as server. Nothing but I will never shut this down. Always I will keep it up and running. Maybe I will have 3-4 laptops so as networking and backup and load scaling. And you always keep it maintaining. Nothing but you buy the machines and you maintain it, you put it into a network. And whenever some software patches, security needs to be applied, you take care. Now that is one kind of a infrastructure which generally people will say on premises. Nothing but on-prem kind of. On-prem means in their office environment itself, they will have some server rooms, and in those rooms they will purchase machines and they will hire some IT support team which is going to maintain their all server systems where your code will be running 24/7. That is one kind of a model. In the previous times when cloud was not that popular, people had this option only. They were going with on-premises itself. But then people started realizing too much of electricity cost is going to maintain this. Always latest patches needs to be done. Software upgrades needs to happen. Security needs to be taken care. They started realizing it is too much painful to do all these activities. And they said, can there be a better solution? And then Amazon and other guys, they came up with this cloud-based solutions. Cloud solutions. Okay, cloud solutions, something like AWS. Amazon Web Services, lot of services which Amazon is offering on web. Cloud solution. Cloud solution means somewhere in the world, Amazon team has already purchased some machines which they are maintaining. They will put software, they will take backups, they will add security. Everything is already done by AWS team. Somewhere in the world. That is what is a cloud solution. Somewhere it's there in the world. And we can simply take a virtual machine on this cloud platform. Okay, what is a virtual machine? Virtual machine is nothing but some machine which is hosted on a physical machine. That is the virtual machine here. So already AWS team has hired purchased some kind of a machine. It's there in the cloud somewhere in the world. In that you are saying, okay, I need, what do you say when you purchase a machine? You say, I need, let's say, Windows OS, which should be, let's say, 4-core machine, and it should have, let's say, 8 GB RAM, and it should have 200 GB hard disk. Okay. It should have 200 hard disk. So you will specify these kind of details. Accordingly, AWS is going to allocate a machine called as virtual machine of this in the physical servers which they have already purchased. So automatically then what is happening? You don't have to then buy these kind of machines, host it and maintain it, but somebody else is doing it for you. And that is where these cloud providers come in picture. So guys, what is the purpose here? First, we need something 24/7. Either it can be on premises or cloud solution. If it is on premises means we need to purchase the machines, maintain the machines always 24/7. Otherwise, cloud solution is available where AWS is doing that on whatever machines they have already purchased. We can basically just buy whatever we want. And they have given some very nice models like pay as you go. Nothing but hourly based billing. If you use it for, let's say, 5 hours, you have to pay only for 5 hours. You don't have to buy it forever. However, that kind of instances are also available. Let's say spot instances. You can buy full instance for entire 1 year or more than that also. So less pricing will come for this one. If you are paying it as you go, so if you use for 5 hours, you use it. After that, you can delete. So you will be charged only for 5 hours. So AWS and other cloud platforms have given this kind of billing model that you don't want to permanently buy this. You want it only temporary. Okay, all those options are available. And now you can imagine these AWS providers, they have already purchased machines and available across the globe. Okay, across the globe. Now, how exactly this happens? Especially in case of AWS, for arranging this machine, they created something called as region. Okay, they have created it regions, and regions are having something called as availability zones. This is how they have organized their all the physical servers. Regions. Region is going to have availability zones, and these availability zones are going to have something called as data center. Data center is where your actual physical machines are going to be maintained. But this is how AWS team has organized all of their services of physical machines across the globe. Okay, and if you go to this kind of a URL, let's say Amazon or AWS global infrastructure, okay, they have put in this kind of a web link. Let's see, can we find something? Yes, just observe. They have put in this kind of a web link where they are saying Amazon cloud spans around 120 availability zones in 35 geographical regions. So they have arranged it in this manner. Across the globe, at different parts, they have arranged all their cloud infrastructure. So physical systems which they have purchased across the globe. So it's like in North America, it is available in these many number of places. You go to South America. In South America, they have 2 geographical regions. We said it is organized as regions, and inside regions, availability zones are there. You go to Europe. Okay, you can check. In Europe, in this Stockholm, 3 availability zones are there. Okay, Ireland, 3 availability zones are there, and so on and so forth. Like that, if you come to Middle East, here also they have multiple regions. In these regions, they have multiple availability zones. So nothing but their physical machines which they are taking is grouped in the world as different regions, and in the regions, some availability zones are going to be there. It's just a categorization. So likewise, if you come to Asia Pacific, this is where our India belongs. And Asia Pacific, you can see here, Mumbai, Amazon team has one data center or one region set up in Mumbai, which is having 3 availability zones. And also recently they have launched Hyderabad also. So just see, 2022 they launched Hyderabad, and Mumbai region was there from 2016 onwards. And in Hyderabad also, they have 3 availability zones. So how do these physical machines are arranged? This link can help you getting some clarity. So AWS team has done this kind of a work. They have multiple regions, and these regions will have multiple availability zones. In the availability zones, data center will be there where your actual physical servers will be running. Actual physical servers will be running. Okay. Now, what we want to do whenever we are running our project, we need, okay, we need to take some machines in this AWS environment. Okay, so generally what will happen? First of all, you will choose a region. Okay, in which region you want all your machines should be? In which region you want the machines? Okay, now every region will have different pricing depending upon whatever is the infrastructure maintaining cost. If somebody is maintaining it in, let's say, US or European area, the cost of maintenance and everything will be high, versus somebody doing it in India, pricing is going to be different, because maybe the software and other services pricing might be different. So in different parts of the world, the pricing of these machines could also be different. So accordingly, people will consider, okay, which region to go for. A lot of times one thought will be there, where you have many end customers, choose a region which is closer to them. Let's say you have a lot of customers on your website from US. So better to have your region in US, because when requests are coming, it will be served from US only. It is going to be faster. Okay. Now, this was really crazy. Some time ago, we came with this. We met this kind of a case. Okay. Before these Australian data centers and other things were there, if people wanted to access any APIs, okay, they had to actually call other part of the world via network. You can imagine this request is coming through router very easily. It will take around 10 seconds, 15 seconds just to make an API call and get the response, because the servers are running globally somewhere, right? So that is what, in order to speed up the response time, wherever you have more number of customers, there your services needs to be running. Okay. Yes, there is a concept of CDN, content distribution network, but that is mostly for static content hosting, right? Images, HTML, JavaScript. But dynamic, right? Backend code which goes to the database, that is a server call. You cannot cache those kind of responses in CDN. So you need to make an API call itself, which will go across the globe. It is going to take time. So one of the thought process and consideration, okay, which region we should choose for running your services, one of the decision will be like this. Okay, where you have many end customers, choose that near region. Near region. So when they access your system, response time will be faster. Okay. CDN and other things is for different purpose. It is for static kind of content hosting, but dynamic API calls, which goes to the database and does some kind of work, it has to run on the backend server itself, because that is where your logs and everything will be generated. Your servers, you cannot cache it here and there, right? Fine. So sometimes people will do deployments at different places also. In multiple regions, they might deploy, and so that request will be served by that guy, that request will be served by that guy. But then you have to build a bigger system which consolidates all these logs across different regions and make it available at one place. A bigger setup and infrastructure is required, but it completely depends upon your project situation. Okay. So guys, what did we learn so far? In order to run the machine 24/7, we need servers. Either you take it or cloud is already doing it. Many of the current projects are going ahead with cloud providers. Compared to what benefit they are giving, the price is very nominal. So cloud provider is the way to do it for many of the companies. Now, cloud providers means they have already purchased the machines and made it available across the globe. For example, AWS, you can check the global infrastructure here. They have arranged their entire physical machines as some regions having multiple availability zones. And in these availability zones, multiple data centers could be there. In these data centers, the actual physical servers will be running 24/7, and electricity and all maintenance is required for that. That is what is happening at physical aspect here. Now, when we are building our project, we need that in this physical server, some kind of virtual memory should be, virtual machine should be allocated to us. So we are saying, give me 4 core, 8 GB, 200 hard disk. So like this, we will be taking this kind of virtual machine for dev environment, right? So we will be taking a virtual machine for dev environment, virtual machine for this one, and accordingly so on and so forth. Next, whenever these virtual machines are created for us, it will be having some IP address. So let's say this is the dev environment. Okay. Now, in the dev environment, you want 2 softwares. So you will take one virtual machine here, and for database, let's say you want to host a database, you will take another thing for this database. Let's say you want to host a Kafka or a Redis cache, you will take another software, another machine, and then you will be running it here. So please note, in one environment, multiple machines, virtual machines can be there. For different purpose, different software, you can have more than one machine. let's say this one you're using for Java code, this one you're using for database, this one you're using for anything else, let's say ActiveMQ or Kafka or anything else, Redis. So that is how you have arranged your environments. In one environment, multiple servers. So this is a virtual machine. They will create virtual machine for this place, and even for this place. Okay, fine. Now there are much more concepts here. AWS has grown so much over a period of time. It has provided not just virtual machines, but lot of services. Like for creating database, there are service. For asynchronous communication, built-in service. Okay, what is a service? Means AWS has taken a database, and on top of that, it is putting a lot of business logic. But for now, let's not get into it. Some services like what? Secrets Manager, caching related services there, Elasticache, RDS is there, Document DB is there, AWS SQS, Amazon SQS is there. Some built-in services are also there. So Amazon does not just give you these virtual machines, it also takes the virtual machine, installs some kind of an software, and gives you access to that, which is far more features running there. But for now, let's not get into it. Once we understand more about RDS and other places in the coming weeks, then we will discuss those areas. For now, just understand, in this environment, multiple virtual machines will be there. And on these virtual machines, we need to run our code. So for today's demonstration, let's just say you're working with AWS, and here we will take one virtual machine, and in this one, we will deploy our Spring Boot application. In this one, we will deploy our Spring Boot application and try to test it from Postman local machine. This much is the work which we need to do. Okay. Now, automatically, question in front of us is, okay, we need to run our Java Spring Boot app in cloud AWS. Okay, this is our goal. Now, AWS is providing multiple solutions for this. Okay, one of the simplest solutions, straightforward solution, where we have to do like a setup of your Java and then all the execution activity. AWS is providing one service for that called as EC2. So you can take a EC2, which is simply going to give you a virtual machine. And in that virtual machine, you can install whatever softwares you want and you can execute them. And this will keep running 24/7 for you. So this is one of the approach by which we can take. But there are a lot of other ways in AWS where you can run your Java services. Okay, EKS, ECS, Lambda, serverless applications via Lambda. So lot of other ways are there by which your Java application can run in AWS. Okay, now you can go out of your curiosity. Now you can go to ChatGPT and ask, okay, what are the top 5 ways to run Java service in AWS? I want to run, let's say, Java Spring Boot application. And just check it out. Multiple solutions are there. Multiple solutions. Okay. What are these solutions? AWS Elastic Bean Stack. Nothing but fully managed. Means we just have to upload our jar file, fully setting it up, running it, handling whatever EC2 load balancer, auto scaling configuration, everything is going to be done by AWS itself. This is what we are saying, that it is providing a lot of services, not just EC2 machines. So EC2 machine is only a machine. In that, now you have to manually deploy, start. You want to use AWS bigger system here. Accordingly, it is going to charge you, cost you more. But if you want this kind of additional flexibility where you don't want to do these things, so AWS is providing much more systems for that. Likewise, it is providing ECS, Elastic Container Service, where you can run it as Docker related images as well. Next, you can use EKS using Kubernetes. So sometimes in the project, you will use Dockers and Kubernetes, and in that run your Java services as containers. For now, not required to get into all those discussions. Just our aim is simple right now. The application that we have, we want to run it in a EC2 machine, so that right from the very basic, if you understand EC2, then from EC2, upgrading to these other styles will be easy for you to catch up. So, but yes, know that there are multiple ways to run. And now just observe, working with Amazon EC2, it is like do it yourself option. Means you have to set up, get the machine, in that install the Java, and then run your application. So you can launch a EC2 machine. It could be a Windows machine, Linux machine, then upload your jar file there and just execute. Yesterday itself, we have seen this option or not, Java space -jar. You can do that. Plus Lambda serverless option is also available. So just note that there are multiple options. There are multiple options of how we can run our Java Spring Boot app in AWS. Different options will have different pricing and different charges. If AWS is doing more thing, it is going to cost you more. If it is doing less thing, you have to do more manually. So if more pain at your side, you have to pay then accordingly less price. And that is how the arrangement with AWS is. If they do more stuff, you have to then pay more for their services. Fine. And that is how these kind of infrastructure is there. We will be using EC2. Okay, fine. So do it by yourself. We will take it, set it up. Even in free tier, you will get some nice, I think 6 months of free tier is available with AWS. If you want, you can create it, but it needs a credit card. Once your work is done, you can delete it. And let's say if you delete it, still something is running. And if they charge you in the end of the month, you can talk to their customer support, and just it's a support request. Just tell them, I am a student, I was practicing. After my practice, I deleted also, but still it is charging. Can you please wipe out this charge? So for the students, they will wipe it out also. So if you want, you can do some experiments with it, but again, it is optional. Just you can observe and just learn. Okay. I will show you how to run it in local machine in a different manner, mimicking system basically, by today end of the session itself. Okay, fine. Now, how do you really work with AWS? So there is a web URL called as AWS console. You will learn a lot of small things here. AWS console. Okay. So first of all, we can access AWS related accounts. So you would need to create an account here, and then AWS console, you have to do the sign in here. So since I think every 24 hours they will reset, since I'm already logged in maybe earlier, so it took me. Otherwise, username, password, security, whatever checks. Next, first you need to make a decision. Okay, fine. All these are machines. I want to take a EC2 machine. So it's a virtual machine somewhere in the physical server, which is taken by AWS. One thing you need to be careful. You need to be careful about the region here. In which region you want. Okay. Manage regions, manage local regions. There are 17 regions that are not enabled for this account. So maybe for free tier, they might disable a few things. For different pricing, enterprise level accounts, they will have different kind of enablement. So some kind of setup is going to be there depending upon your project. But you need to be careful, because any machine that you create is going to go inside that particular region. So on the right hand side drop down, regions are available. So first, log into console. Step number 2, careful of the region. Choose the region where you will run your services. Currently, we said we will use EC2. So where we have to manually set up and stuff there. So fine, we will use EC2 service. Okay, how do you choose? Now, if you click here, observe, all services. These many number of services AWS is providing. Just see A, B, now with C, these many. D, and the list is on. These many number of services AWS is providing. Okay, so it's not just a virtual machine which they provide a lot of softwares and services. Means they will take the virtual machines, and on that they will install a lot of softwares and capabilities, do management of that, monitoring of that. And for all these services they have made the option available. If anybody is interested, depending upon your project needs, for example, you want to use Kinesis, that option is there. You want to use Lambda, that option is there. And there are so many other things, IoT related services are there which they have created. Okay, and next, global view glue for data engineering. Recently in our project we did some data science and data engineering work. There we needed to work with AWS glue kind of a software service. And then like this, there are so many other services also. EC2 is one of the service which will give you virtual servers in the cloud. Okay, so using EC2 you can get a virtual server in the cloud. In that you can do whatever installation and it is going to work for you. Okay, so please be aware, like document DB for NoSQL databases, you can manage it here. Okay, so DynamoDB is for NoSQL databases and document DB is for Mongo database capability. So they have these kind of databases. DynamoDB, you can manage any NoSQL database. What is that? Okay, Couchbase, MongoDB, these are some examples of NoSQL databases. In that you want to work with MongoDB exclusively, you can use document DB, a fully managed system. What is fully managed? Backups will be there, recovery will be there, scaling will be there, security will be there. Everything is going to be taken care by Amazon team. So what they have done, they have taken softwares and added much more features on that and made it also available for people for usage. So it's not just for virtual machine hosting, they have so many services which people can use for different projects. So which we need to understand at a beginner level. AWS will offer virtual machines. However, they offer huge number of services which we can use for day-to-day project requirements. And across the globe there are so many types of projects running, so they kept that in the mind and they created services for so many types of projects. Okay, fine. Now we will be choosing EC2. So what you need to do, you will simply go here, maybe in the search type EC2. It's for virtual servers in the cloud. You click here. Okay, next. Recording is anyways going to be available for you guys. On the left hand side, you click on instances. So this is where you can take a machine. You need to understand one thing here. What is that? Almost throughout my IT experience, in the production system or even in the non-prod, in the cloud related system, all the live systems environments are, let's say, Linux or Ubuntu based environments. So for production systems, for even these kind of environments, generally people will not go ahead with Windows or Mac related machines. Okay, generally they will have Linux or Ubuntu due to a lot of considerations. Yes, for many projects this will be a default decision. So for working also, we will use a Linux machine which is offered by AWS. Okay, so our next aim is we need to get a EC2 machine, which is a Linux machine. In that, install Java and then copy our jar file of first app and then run it there and then test from local. This is our next steps, guys. Okay, guys, are we understanding what we are doing right now? How the flow is going? Are you getting it? Let me put up a new poll. Whatever we discussed about AWS, are you getting it? Otherwise, we are just going, and basics are still confused. No, that will not work. Okay. What's your understanding score? What's your understanding score? We are just getting started. Now the technical setup is starting. Okay, let's check it out. 5, 4, 3, 2. Put this poll team. Okay, these are basics. Again, as a beginner, everybody should have the clarity. What is a region? What is availability zone? What is data center? What is this physical machine? Okay, what is AWS? What are these multiple services offered by AWS? Okay, so that is what basic clarity should be there. Then you can have some conversation during interview or with your friends also, when you know, okay, what all these things are, right? Fine, spend some time on all these links, work with ChatGPT to get some clarity. Know that Java application can be run in multiple manners in AWS. We are choosing one of the option, EC2. For many projects, EC2 approach is also going to be there. Sometimes Docker based approach, sometimes Kubernetes based approach, sometimes fully managed solution where AWS itself is doing. So different projects, different styles will be there. Fine. Okay. Fine. Good. Again, majority is 5s and 4s, means you guys are focused. Keep it up. Everybody, please vote, please focus. 55 members have voted so far. Let's continue. Okay. 58. Very good. Okay, let's continue to the next point. Now we want to do these number of steps. We will get a EC2 machine. Lot of technical things we will learn while we are setting up the EC2 machine. Then once the machine is set up in the cloud, we need to connect to that. So how do you connect to that machine? What softwares are required? We will learn that. Install Java there. And every developer is supposed to know all these things, because on a day-to-day basis, this might be expected from developers. So install the Java there, copy the jar there, run it and test it from local Postman. This is our next work. How do you choose EC2? Okay, you go to the AWS cloud. Okay, you go to the AWS cloud. Here we are. You go to the instances. Currently, there are no instances running. So now we want to get started. You click on launch instance. Okay. Launch instance. Give some logical name for this. Let's say October 25 server. Generally, what happens, do you know? When we are creating these EC2 machines, for every microservice, we will create one EC2 machine. Generally for projects, for every microservice, we will create one EC2 machine. So that means when we said we will do payment processing service, so we will create one EC2 machine for payment processing service. Okay, next, when we create PayPal provider service, so we will create another EC2 machine for PayPal provider. So separate EC2 for this one, separate EC2 for this one. Okay, why separate? Because we want to run it in an auto scaling manner. Again, when we discuss about microservices, what is this scale, load balancer? When more traffic comes, you need to have more in horizontal scaled services. When less traffic, less services. It becomes easy for doing that scale up and scale down operation, load balancing operation, if every service you run it separately on one EC2 machine. Okay, so this is a common practice for many projects. Every microservice, you will set up a new EC2 machine and it will individually scale up or scale down. Okay, so that is how the system is going to be aware. Just be aware of that. Fine, moving on. Now we are creating a EC2 machine. So when we are creating it for every microservice, here the name of the microservice is going to go, let's say first app. Okay, but any server name is okay. Right now we are naming this server as October 25 server. Next, you need to make a decision what OS you want, what RAM you want, what memory you want. This screen gives you all that option to make a decision. Okay, first you need to decide which OS you want. So what they have done is they have made some images available. Means if you want a Linux, Amazon Linux, so you can take this. If you want a Mac machine in AWS, you can take this. You want Ubuntu, you can take this. You want Windows, Red Hat, okay, and all these other operating systems. So depending upon your project, you might choose. For many of the projects in our non-prod as well as prod system, Amazon Linux is a commonly or standard used model for deploying the services. But anyways, if people have different choices, they can do that also. You can check about the pros and the cons about each of them before making the decision. Play around with ChatGPT and you can find those things. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, you choose this image. What is an image? I think everybody is clear with image concept. Amazon machine image means, I think when you are setting up the OS also from scratch, in earlier times when I was in my college and other days, these in the hard disk, this Windows or any operating system used to come, you just put it and then fully format. So that is an image itself, right? So a snapshot of full operating system is available. You can take it and you can boot it up and your system will be ready. So like this, these kind of operating systems you can choose. We want to go ahead with Amazon Linux operating system. Now observe, in Amazon Linux, there are multiple images. Okay. For example, let's say in my laptop right now, whatever softwares I have installed, OneNote is there, Chrome is there, Edge is there, or Postman is there. I can take an image of this. And this image, if I install it in any other, let's say Windows machine, automatically all of my softwares will come there also. That's the concept of image. It takes a snapshot of whatever I have right now, softwares, and whenever I put it on another machine, everything will come to that point. Okay, all the software installations and everything. That's an image concept. So what these images are, if you're choosing Amazon Linux, in these people have made many images. Just observe here. If you choose this Amazon Linux 2 with SQL Server, means on this Linux, they have installed SQL Server also, and 2-in-1 you are going to get. So you don't have to manually install this one. And like this, they have made some things available for deep learning. Okay, they created some softwares where for deep learning related systems are done on the EC2 machine. Next year, okay, again some deep learning NVIDIA drivers they installed. So like this, depending upon the need, people will choose the right image. So they have to do less software installation there. Okay, so already operating system we want to choose. But in this operating system, do you want some ready-made softwares? And they have given some predefined list of images for that purpose. Currently, we don't want any deep learning related softwares. We don't want SQL Server. We want the basic Linux operating system. And in your college, if you would have learned basic Linux, you know that kernel is the main key part of a Linux operating system and around which all the commands and other things work. So we want a basic with kernel itself. Okay. So we will simply go ahead with this kernel 6.1, let's say. Okay, fine. So we will be choosing this and we will be choosing this kind of a kernel. Okay, fine. Next, moving on. It has the basic capability of Linux operating system. So what are we saying? For choosing EC2, you need to choose OS first. Then you need to choose the right image, which will have these softwares. Currently, we are just going with kernel. Okay. Next, moving on. Okay. Basically, latest architecture, 64-bit, continue with the default. One thing you need to be aware, just like whenever you create your Windows machine, you can create a user account, and using this user account, you can connect to Windows machine, right? You can log in with your username, password, and then connect to your Windows machine, laptops. Like that, for connecting to this AWS machine which we are creating, there is always a default user called as EC2 user. So using this username, we can connect to this EC2 machine. So that is another point we need to be aware of. Okay, to connect to this EC2 machine which we are creating, default user is this one. If you want to create more users, the way in your laptop you can create now 5 more accounts, and that can have username password, and 5 people can log in. Like that, multiple users can be created for this AWS Linux machine also. But the default one is EC2-user. Please be aware of that. Okay, fine. Let's continue. Next, you need to make a decision. We are trying to take a virtual machine. So virtual machine is going to have some RAM. It is going to have some CPU. Okay. So they have basically some free tier options available. So then they have some non-free tier things, and they have defined how much is going to be, let's say T2 large. If you choose, you will get 2 core 8 GB machine. If you choose T2X large, 4 CPU, nothing but 4 core, 16 GB. And this really keeps going. If you really see, just observe here, C5 metal, 96 CPU, 192 GB RAM. So, and further it is explaining how exactly they are going to do the pricing calculation for this. And now you can get these names and other things. Go to ChatGPT. They created a naming sequence. Okay, what does this C5 kind of sequence means? What does C5A related things mean? And how much pricing is going to be there depending upon the machine that you're choosing. But yes, please be aware, lot of options are provided by AWS. Okay, now in the free tier, they are just providing one simple T3 machine, which is 2 core 1 GB. So we will continue using that. So next part, and they have given some logical name for all the machines. Please understand, T3 micro, T2 nano. So they have multiple series and they have given logical name. Then there is pricing associated with it. If you use this machine, then how much per hour pricing is going to be there, and blah 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 details. Okay, fine. Let's continue further. So next comes choosing core and RAM. For that, you need to choose the right instance type. Whether it's a T series or whether it's a C series, let's say C5 or C5A or T3 or T2, blah blah blah. They have multiple kind of options available here. Okay, fine. That is what required for this part. So we have chosen that also. Okay, next area. Now just try to imagine it in global infrastructure. Currently we are saying in Mumbai, my region selected is Mumbai. So currently we are saying in Mumbai there are 3 availability zones. Okay, in that zone I need to have 1 machine. And let's say right now you might be sitting in your own place. Okay, let's say you are coming from, let's say Delhi, or let's say MP, or any other part of the country. And then accordingly you want to connect from that to Mumbai, or you're in the south of India, you want to connect to Mumbai. Nothing but from your laptop you want to securely connect to Mumbai location, and other people should not be able to connect to your machine which you have taken. Right, think about it. It is there somewhere in the cloud. Only you should be able to go there, not other people. So security is required, right? Obvious. So that is the next point we need to understand. Okay, the EC2 machine which we are creating, okay, we should be able to securely connect to this machine. Okay, other people should not be able to connect, since this EC2 will be created in Mumbai location. Okay, many other EC2s might be there of different companies. Okay, some kind of security is required. And guys, it's not just about EC2 level security. There is much more than that. There's a concept of even VPCs, virtual private cloud, that we will understand in a bit later. VPCs will allow this kind of network partition so that other people will not be really able to get into your virtual network also. So proper protection and prevention is going to be there. VPCs, they have taken care of all those things. Otherwise, who will use their services if others would get connected to it, right? So VPCs, virtual private cloud. They created nice network partitions which can secure, like other people cannot go into this. However, to securely connect to your EC2 machine, they created a login key pair. Just observe, key pair login. Using this key pair login, you can securely connect to this EC2 machine. Okay, now let's say in the same AWS environment, you want to run 3 machines and you want, okay, for this one of the machine, only one developer should have the access. Other 2 people should not be able to connect. So at that time, using this kind of an option, you can control. You will give this login key only to one developer, and with that, that person can connect. Remaining 2 will not have this security kind of key. Okay. So you can decide, you can control who can connect to this EC2 machine. So for that reason, okay, to securely connect to your EC2 machine, AWS has the option of key pair, which is nothing but for login into the machine. You can securely connect. Okay, how do you connect to that? Simply click create a new key pair. Click on this. You have multiple options here. Generally continue with the default, it is good enough. RSA, use the RSA algorithm. What is RSA? Public private key, but right now let's not get into all those details. Just know that RSA security we will use for connecting from, let's say, this my laptop local machine to that virtual machine which is in Mumbai location. Okay, so using RSA security from my local machine, I can connect to that Mumbai related virtual machine. So you can give some name to this security key which you are creating. What is that name? Let's say October 25, okay, key pair. Okay, and now you are going to download this create key pair. So it is going to create a public and private key, and one PEM file, private key PEM file is going to be given to you. It is going to be downloaded. While you are trying to connect to that cloud, you need to use this PEM file. That is what it is. Okay, so fine. We will be creating this October 25 key pair. A private file should come here with us. Just see, yes, it is downloaded. So we are able to see, yeah, this kind of a private file is downloaded. During connecting to EC2, we need to use this one. For now, just be aware. To securely log in, we can connect this one. Okay. While trying to connect, we already wrote it. To securely log in, we need key pair. We created this key pair. Let's move forward. Okay, fine. So automatically from the drop down, as soon as you create, it is selected from the drop down. So even though you might have 10 EC2 machines, you don't have to create 10 keys. With one key, you can connect with all if you choose that from the drop down. Okay, so all that setup is possible. Next, let's understand some network related aspect here. Okay, one thing, I'm clicking on edit option for network. First, some time ago we spoke about VPC, virtual private cloud. Nothing but earlier we understood that physical partitions are there, physically all these things how they arrange, but in those physical machines they have created some network partitions so that they can control which guy can connect to which service. So they have controlled all that network using the concept of virtual private cloud, VPC. And again, basics of networking, all this knowledge will come into. Under VPC, they have multiple subnets. So you can just imagine partitions are there. So in the cloud system somewhere, they have a VPC. So in the cloud system, they have some VPC, okay? And there will be, let's say, another VPC. And if there is a EC2 machine running here, for example, an EC2 machine here, so by default, this machine cannot connect to this machine. It's not going to happen. In order to do that, some additional checks and setup will be required. But otherwise, they try to create network partitions so that it by default will prevent who can access one another. So again, it's a security mechanism. And within the network also, they provided an option, something called as subnets, which is again kind of sub partitions within the system. So automatically, if you are here and if you want to connect to this related some service, it is not going to be straightforward available. You have to check on some configurations. So you can put things in subnet, so it is easy to manage. So please be aware, AWS is having some other concepts of VPCs and subnets. VPCs and subnets, which control how the access will be managed within AWS when services are connecting to one another. Okay. And when you're creating an instance, you can make those preferences that, okay, which VPC you want to go to. You can use the default one or you can create your own one. Generally, DevOps team will be experts in setting up all of these AWS related configuration. As a Java developer, this basic knowledge should be there for you guys, but all major services and other thing, DevOps will be having expertise. You need to understand, as a beginner, your focus should be on application development and basics of AWS up to 2 years of time. Once you start crossing 2 years of experience, you need to start upgrading yourself in more and more services of cloud also, because now more maturity is required. You can build applications. Now you build these applications using multiple AWS related service or cloud related service. Even as a beginner, 0 to 2 years, having basic knowledge of this service plus good knowledge on application development, Spring Boot application development, it is good enough. But as you grow more in experience, your control on AWS services should also grow and backend should also grow. And that's how your career transition is going to happen. Please be aware of it. Okay? And then as you go forward with experience, you have to do more stuff. As you go forward, people will expect become a full stack also. As you go forward, people will expect now start doing more architectural decisions rather than just building applications. Start mentoring juniors, start doing as per best design practices and other things. And then, so level is going to change as you grow more in your IT career. Initially, you start with basic coding and application building, then comes next and next level as you grow through for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, fine. So network. So if you say no preference, you can choose which subnet you want. So some default subnets, they have made it available. Okay. Which availability zone you want, you can choose that, which availability zone you want. And now these network partitions will save it properly. Okay, next. So we need to just have this point. AWS offers VPCs and subnet, okay, to add your EC2 machine for controlled access. Okay, fine. Next, these are network related stuff. Okay, next, auto assign public IP. Look at this feature. Auto assign public IP. That machine is in Mumbai location. EC2 machine that we are creating, it's in Mumbai location. We are in our personal location, wherever that is. So this is local, wherever you are sitting, your physical space. This is virtual, Mumbai. Okay. And from this place, you need to connect to that one. One of the option is, to this EC2 machine, you give it a public IP. Public IP. When you give this public IP, okay, from outside you can connect to it. If your machine is not having a public IP, from outside you will not be able to connect to your machine. Please be aware of this. So when you say auto assign public IP is unable, means from your outside environment, you will be able to connect to that machine. That is where public IP is required. Okay, if let's say you say disable, means you will not be able to connect. So if you are not able to connect, why did they give a disable option? Okay, you have to connect it in some other manner. What will happen? Okay, so this is a model 1. Using public IP, you can connect. Okay, however, there is going to be a model 2. Sometimes in the projects, we will do it via that way also. We will not open the public IP, not public IP. And then there will be something called as VPN. We will ask all the developers, okay, connect via a VPN. Oh, what is a VPN? Some set of software that we will install in the user machine. When they are executing that software, they will be first connected to AWS environment. Their laptop will behave as if they are inside AWS environment itself. Oh, okay. So this is kind of a tunnel setup, people say. We will be setting up a tunnel or VPN. So in the local machine, you will install the VPN software. And as a tunnel, you will first, your machine, when you run that software, it will behave as if you are in AWS. And once you are in that, you will be able to connect to this EC2 even without the public IP. It will have something called as private IP. Okay, so public IP is there. There is another thing called as private IP. So private IP means only within the AWS, from some other place, you can connect there. So like this setup will be there. Sometimes if it is public IP, means people can access it from outside also. Otherwise, they would disable public, make it only private. It makes it more secure. That first people should be in your AWS environment. For that, additional setup will be there. Tunnels and VPN concepts will come here. Using that, you first connect, and then using the private IP, you connect. That is another way of working. Okay, fine. So we understood something about IPs. So for our testing, we will be enabling public IP. But now you are getting some concepts. Every machine will have, if you allowed it, public IP will be there. Private IP will be definitely assigned to every machine. Okay. Now, there is one more concept with regards to IP, which we need to understand. Okay. What is that? Whenever you are stopping and restarting your machine, then your IP, public IP is going to change. So that is what it is. The default behavior. Every time you stop and restart your machine, your public IP will change. If you want fixed IP, it is called as static IP. Means it is fixed. Even though you are restarting, IP should always remain fixed. Generally, for your projects, we will have fixed IPs only. For that, there is another AWS IP configuration called as elastic IP, which is going to be fixed in nature. So for that, you have to pay additional money for AWS, but then accordingly, some elastic IP will come. They will reserve one IP address for you, so that even though you restart, it is not going to change. So at least this basic clarity about IP should be there for every person. So if it is only public, with restart, it will change. For projects, we choose elastic IP, which is a static IP. It will remain fixed, and accordingly, you will be able to connect with the same IP every time. Okay, fine. So for our today's setup, we will choose, yes, enable public IP itself, and we will continue with the testing with whatever IP address it generates. Okay, fine. So many concepts. Everything is a discussion. Next concept is also a discussion, guys. Focus. Firewall setting. Nothing but security group. Firewall, security group. Let's try to understand that. AWS is all about virtual systems. How do you make sure your virtual systems are protected, prevented? For that, firewall level security it is making available. Okay, what is that? Now let's just imagine you have this EC2 machine. EC2. When somebody is trying to connect to this machine from outside, they are saying, we will be putting some kind of firewall rules. Okay, we will be putting some kind of firewall rules, nothing but some kind of restrictions and control. This is a firewall. Some configurations we will say, which will make a decision who is allowed to connect. That is what is firewall. So in AWS, they have something called as a firewall setting. Via security groups, they are offering this using security group. One way is via security group. By doing some configuration in security group, you can decide who are allowed to connect to this EC2 machine. If it is not allowed here, then that request is not going to go to the EC2 machine. So that is another level security which AWS is offering. For example, in this configuration that we see, what it is saying, okay, firewall is for security purpose. You can define it, okay, control the traffic for your instance, rules that control traffic for your instance. Nothing but whenever somebody is trying to reach to your machine, how exactly you want to control it. You can put the rules in firewall setting, security groups. Okay. So by default, when you're starting a new machine, yes, go ahead, create existing, create a new security group. You put some security name, continue with the default, that is fine. Continue with the description. You can describe something, what the security group is. Now, few things. This security group is having two configurations. Okay, guys. One is when somebody is trying to connect to your system, it is called as inbound rules. Inbound rules. Okay, here you can read the statement which was saying what? A security group is a set of firewall rules that control the traffic to your instance. Okay, these rules are of two types, inbound rules and outbound rules. So there is going to be something like inbound rule, there is going to be something like outbound rules. You can control. What you can control? Inbound rule means when some outsider is trying to reach your EC2 machine, what security rules should apply. Outbound rule means when your EC2 machine is trying to connect outside to some other place, what kind of restrictions you want to apply. So everything is controlled and configuration. So this is outbound rules. When your EC2 is calling external services, what kind of control you want. So please be aware, there are two concepts, inbound rule and outbound rule, that you can do via security groups. Inbound rule controls when somebody is trying to reach you, what the rule should be. Second, when you are trying to reach to somebody, what kind of restrictions you want. Everything is configurable. For example, in this screen itself, what you are seeing, firewall, all this, and just observe here, inbound security rules. By default, they have enabled SSH, which is going to work via a TCP protocol for communication, right? Network protocol, TCP protocol. And whenever SSH happens, it happens on port 22. Okay, what this SSH is basically? Okay, so in order to connect to this EC2 machine, we use SSH command is one way to connect to this EC2 machine. Whenever you are using SSH, it connects by default to the port 22. Port 22. So whenever somebody is trying to connect to this machine, it will connect via port 22. Okay. And if this 22 is not enabled in this rule, people will not be able to connect to this machine. That is where AWS by default is giving you this option, okay, SSH, and then port is coming 22. If 22 is not enabled, people or even you will not be able to connect to this EC2 machine. That is what is inbound rule configuration. Similarly, if you want to copy, let's say in your local machine, jar file will be there, myfile.jar. You want to copy this jar file into this machine. It's again, you're trying to connect there to copy it. Okay, here you need to use some other command called as SCP. This will also be going via the 22 port into the EC2 machine. So we need to enable 22 port in our firewall rule Otherwise, we will not be able to connect. We will not be able to do copy. Nothing is going to work. Okay, very good. Now, coming to the next point. What you are saying, this SSH should be allowed from where? And that is what we are saying here. Source type, where? You are saying by default anywhere. Let's say you are traveling. Right now you are in Pune. Next you are in Chennai. After that you are going to West Bengal, Kolkata somewhere. You are traveling. From everywhere you should be able to connect to this EC2 machine. So you have to choose anywhere. If you know a particular IP, then you can choose custom, and then you provide the list of IP that this EC2 machine, whenever we are doing SSH, it should happen only from this IP. So that level of control is there. Or if you don't know your IP list, you have 5 IPs, let's say you have of Pune also, Chennai also, and let's say some other place also. Take all those IPs, put it. Generally in your companies, company IP is going to be utilized here. Means only from your company IP you can connect to this machine. Levels of security basically. So even the work from home is happening, first you will connect into company IP, and from company IP only you can connect to this machine. Like this setups will be there again. Okay, so please be aware, security is one important part. What is this machine? Who can connect to this machine? Everything needs control, and that's how projects will have control of all these things. Okay, for now we will say anywhere. Means from anywhere you can try to do SSH. That is what this is about. Okay, fine. So I think that's it. And then you can choose how much of hard disk you want. Okay, so we are just choosing 8 GB. You want to increase it, you can increase it as well. How much hard disk is required for this EC2, and that is what is the end of it. You can do more advanced configuration, but not required. This is good to get started. You can choose how many instances you want. If you choose 3 here, it will create 3 such machines. That is where option was launch instances. You can create multiple here. Same configuration, you can create 5 instances in one go. That possibility is there, but default is 1. We will also use 1 instance right now, and then that is what it is about. Let's launch it. Okay, by the time it is launching, we will just take some notes. Private public IP, we discussed this. Next, firewall is having inbound and outbound setting. Via security group you can do that. Next, we understood to connect to the machine we need SSH connection, which will happen on 22 port. Every basic, it's basic, every developer should know this. Okay, so to connect to this machine we need 22 port. Okay, wonderful. Now we go further. 22 port required. After that we choose the hard disk. Okay, chalo, which is like 8 GB, and then we click on launch. The recording is already available, so if you missed any of the step, or in my steps if I have not written anything, no problem, watch the recording, get to that point, prepare it, and then launch action will give you the instance. Fine. After roughly 1 hour, our EC2 machine is ready. But because we are seeing this for the first time, many of us are for the first time discussing even AWS, so that level of detail and clarity is required, and everything is important. Don't try to skip basics. Okay, fine. Now, next, once the machine is created, you go to instances section. Okay, instance is already in running state. Instance is already in running state. So what were our steps to do? Our steps to do were something like this. We need to get a EC2 machine. Okay, this is done. We got the EC2 machine. Next step is we need to install Java. But installing Java, we need to first connect to EC2 machine. Without connecting, how can we install anything there? So next step is connect to EC2 machine. After that, install Java. After that, copy our jar file, then execute there, then test there. Everywhere, lot of things will learn. Okay, so guys, everybody, please be focused. Lot of things we will learn at every step. Okay, guys, are you focused? Are you listening? Give a quick thumbs up. Are you understanding it? Are you getting it? Did you create EC2 machine? At least by focusing on the video, were you able to understand all these things and able to manage? Give a quick thumbs up, guys. Give a quick thumbs up. Then we will resume. Listen with attention. AWS cloud is very common for projects. And when you are saying, I have worked in a live project, this basic knowledge is required, because otherwise, where were you deploying really, right? Very good. Thanks for confirmations. Thanks for confirmations. Okay. Okay, guys. Good stuff, everyone. Please focus. Please focus. Now, आगे चलते हैं. Okay, let's go to the next piece. Thank you for confirmations, team. Let's move on. Now, one by one, we need to learn so many things here. Okay, let's take it up. I will copy this full stuff here and we will be putting it here. Step number 1 is done. Now comes the step number 2. Connect to EC2. How do you connect to EC2? Okay, let's look at AWS itself. If you click on this October 25 server, we created it. It is in running state. So running means the machine is up there. If you click on this, they have given this option called as connect. So click on connect. Okay. There are multiple ways by which you can connect to this machine. Dekho, one way is simply like this. Click the first tab, EC2 instance connect. Observe. Okay, let's observe this. I will open this in a new tab. Okay. When you click on this machine, this is what we are talking about. Private, public IP. Every machine is going to have some public IP. So this is the public IP. Private IP, private IP. You can refer to this machine based upon this domain also. So they have given a public domain name also. This is the big domain name which they have provided for this machine. So via IP address you can connect, or via domain also you can connect. And private IP is there via tunneling. We know every machine internally has a private IP. Okay. Next, just see, we spoke about that elastic IP configuration. So if you want across machine restart, you need to have a fixed IP. Then you need to go and buy an elastic IP from this place. It will reserve one IP for you, and you have to link that IP to this EC2 machine so that it will always keep the same static IP for you. Okay? So please be aware, everything what we discussed is available as some configurations here. Okay. Next, you want to set up load balancer. Load balancer related options are available. You want to set up auto scaling. When more traffic is coming, then more things should happen. Target group is going to set up that auto scaling for you. So everything is available here. Just see, using target group and auto scale group, we can achieve that. So auto scaling groups and target groups. Using this configuration, we can scale up. So in AWS console, all the options are available. And that is where being a DevOps expert means you need to know how all these things work, how to do the setup, and how all the connections and everything happens, right? But yes, as you gain experience, you need to get control on all these things also. But for now, just be aware, all the options are available for you, what you want to do. Okay, very good. Fine. So chalo, we saw your public IP. Now we are discussing a point, how to connect to this machine. We clicked on that connect button. It took us to this page. Just observe. Via EC2 user, we said, right? In order to connect to a machine, you need to log in with some user. How do you connect to your laptop? You log in with your user account. So to connect to this machine, we will use the default user, EC2 user. It is a public IP, and you can accordingly connect with this one. Okay. Now, just by clicking this connect button, just observe how it happens. We are able to connect to that machine. Now, you know how Linux or Ubuntu is, okay? It is all command line. It's not like our Windows operating system where we see a graphical view and you can double click here and there. You work with Linux in a command line manner. Everything is accessible via CLI. It's not a graphical user interface. So this Amazon Linux machine, everything that you do here is going to be via commands. The way you can access your local machine via command prompt, right? So this is a command line interface to access your local machine. Let's say cd D drive. Now you can, okay, you just click D and you are part of the D drive. Now you can say dir, you will know all the machines which are available here. CLS. So you can use these commands and access the Windows related system. That is how the entire Linux itself is command line. If those who are not aware, seeing this for the first time, please be aware, you need to access entire Linux as command line interface. There is no graphical view. So you cannot go with mouse here and there, double click and open. No, it is going to be via this manner only. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, but generally, you have to understand one another point. We connected to this using console directly, logged into console, and from there we did that. Please note that this kind of access will not be available to developers. You will not be having this option to do it like this. For many of the projects, juniors will not be given even login access to AWS. Why? Because there are so many services. If accidentally you start some service, money and billing will start. If accidentally you stop or delete something, problems will come. So junior level, till the time they get some good hands-on knowledge about working with this, people will not give them access. Somebody else will do the setup for you, share you the IP, and you can then continue with your further work. However, if you join some startups, mid-scale companies, sometimes they will give you access, but again, they will give some restricted access to you. Okay. However, connecting to the EC2 machine directly from the console is never a standard practice. You don't do that. You need some additional softwares. Using that, you connect to this EC2 machine. That's how every developer is going to do. From console, generally people will never do it. 99% time you will not use this. Only for worst case, something has really gone wrong, then one of the guy will log in and try to bypass this. But otherwise, you are not supposed to go from console to that place. So please understand the second point, connect to EC2 machine. Okay, you need to be aware of this. You are not supposed to connect to EC2 directly from console. You need to use some other option. What are the other options? Lot of tools are available in the market. Okay. For example, some of you might be working with Putty kind of tool or WinSCP. These are some Windows related tool to allow you to connect. Or there is another Windows tool called as Mobaxterm. So we are going to use Mobaxterm kind of tool. Plus, there are many other tools in the market. Whichever you are comfortable, you can use it. So it's not a mandate that you should do it like this only. Any tool which you are comfortable, you can choose that and then work with it. That's it. Okay. So for Windows user, these kind of options are required. You can use these kind of tools to connect with that EC2. For Linux and Mac users, if a developer is a Mac user or a Linux user, just inbuilt terminal that you have, that is enough. Terminal. So whatever terminal window will come with you, with that itself you can connect. You don't need to install any other software. Okay. Now we will be using Mobaxterm. By the end of today's session, I will give you a link to download Mobaxterm. Generally, you can get it from Google itself, search Mobaxterm download. But what we realized lately was if you click on download, it is taking a lot of time to give you the zip file. Not sure why it is taking so much time. So we have already downloaded that zip. It is available. So I will just give it to you. So within a few seconds, the link is going to come to you. Okay? But anyways, it's available for all. You can download it. Mobaxterm looks something like this. Just see. This is the logo of Mobaxterm. Okay, open. Okay. This is how Mobaxterm software looks like. Okay, you can say start a local terminal. So please note, when you say start a local terminal, what it is doing, the way you will access your local machine via command prompt, right? CMD, you're able to access local machine from command prompt. Like that, you can access local machine from Mobaxterm. And Mobaxterm gives you some kind of Linux commands to be operating here. For example, if you're aware of Linux command ll, it's available here. If you do Linux command on Mobax on our command prompt, so not everything, but some basic Linux commands. You do ll here, ll is not recognized. Okay, so using Mobaxterm, the way we can use it in AWS, like those commands, you can practice it in your local also. But it's not like full-fledged Linux commands, everything is available. But yes, whatever basics commonly used one, you can practice it here in your Mobaxterm only without needing to go to a Linux-based system for practicing. Okay, so Mobaxterm can do this work for you. Now, rest of the things are all available. For example, let's say you want to go to first tab. So I will click right click, properties. This is the location. Okay, I want to go inside first tab. So let's copy this. Copy this. You can simply do a CD, CLS, CD, paste. It needs 2 backslashes, guys. If you're putting backslash, you need to do 2. If it is /, 1. Okay, next, just observe, we are in D drive. Clear. Just see CLS is working, clear is also working. Clear does not work in a Windows system, right? So, okay, LL, we are able to see the folders or files which are available there. Okay, so on this location, we see src target pom.xml. So fine, we are able to navigate local machine from command line interface. That is what is the next point we need to understand. Using Mobaxterm, we will connect. I will share with you the link. And okay, you start a new terminal. Start new terminal. Okay, you can connect to it. You can connect to local machine and run some Linux supported commands in local in local Windows. Okay, some kind of commands, not everything will be full-fledged, but commonly used things are available. Okay, fine. So we are done with this. Next, we will use this Mobaxterm to connect to EC2 machine, AWS EC2 machine. Okay, what is the command for that? Let's observe this one. Let's observe this one. If you again click on this connect section, for syntax, we are going here. If you click here, SSH client, it is giving you the command in order to connect, which is what? SSH. Just observe, this is the command it is suggesting. It is saying you can connect like this. SSH-I, you choose your PEM file, the security public private file. Remember, we downloaded public private file. So use that file. So this will help to securely connect to EC2 machine. So other people cannot connect. Only the people who have this access, only they can connect to this machine. So SSH-I, then you put your PEM file and then you choose EC2 user, nothing but username, and @ which machine you want to connect. So the syntax is something like this: SSH-I, you have to specify the PEM file, and then it is like user name @ and then IP or domain, EC2 IP or domain. This is how it is going to be. Okay, so that's the syntax. And furthermore, it is saying, okay, for this property file that you have, public file that you have, security file that you have, PEM file, you might need to give some file permission. chmod 400. Okay, if you remember some of your Linux, you might have learned it somewhere in your past, in your college or somewhere. There is this chmod command. It is used for giving file permissions. explore on this topic further using AI or whatever. So it is saying whatever PEM file you have, try to give a chmod 400. Run this command if necessary to ensure your key is not publicly visible. Means others are not able to see your key. So just run this command like this, chmod and then this 400 command for this. Okay, fine. So let's do this kind of activities. What I will do is, in my machine, I save it in D drive, CT, workspace, AWS. No, it's not here. CT data AWS. Okay. In this place, generally, I copy the PEM files for doing some testing. So what I will do is, whatever we got from this place, AWS console, I will just move this PEM file into this location. Okay. So our location path is now this one. Our PEM file is residing where? Here. And this is the PEM file. Just observe. So we will go to this location. Let's say go back to my backstrom. I'm opening a new location. You can open multiple tabs in Mobaxstrom. CD, this one. 2 backslashes required. Okay. LL is going to show you the list. Right now we copied this one, October. Just notice this. Right now permission of this October is like this. This first is permission. Again, these are basic things. Just go to ChatGPT and ask what these permissions are, what it all means, how to change the permission. You will get all the required knowledge there. But yes, every file has some permissions, whether user can read it, write it, execute it, and regular user can do what, group can do what, an external user can do what. Some kind of setup is there. Okay, read it, explore it by yourself. So, but some file permissions are there. What this AWS is telling us, they try to give chmod 400. So some kind of permission. Let's try to give this chmod 400 for this October file. Okay, giving enter. Now let's do an LL again. Just observe what has happened. Now this is only showing read access. It is not having write access, execute access, and for nobody, only for regular user. Earlier the command was like this. Now it is like this. So looks like it is very safe. Only the current user can read it. That's the file permission we have given for this file. Okay, fine. AWS recommended it. We applied it. Let me put this in our notes also. So we need to securely keep the PEM file so others cannot read it. So that's how we have done it. Okay, fine. Once it is done, second step is we need to follow the syntax to copy. Can we prepare that command here? SSH-I. Where is your PEM file? This is the PEM file in my machine. It uses double slashes, Mobaxstrom. So I will give a double slash. Okay. What username of your EC2 machine? So our username is EC2 user itself. Very good. Username is EC2 user. Next, what is the IP or domain of your machine? Okay, we know that. From the console, we can get that. So when you are in your company, somebody will already tell you, hey, these are the list of IPs of our environment. They might maintain some web document where all these IPs will be there, or in a Word document somewhere they will make it all available. So every environment, what IP is there, you will find it in the company somewhere maintained. So you can go there and from that place check. And this is the public IP. I'm copying the public IP. Once you copy this IP, you can update it in this command. So basically, this looks like command to connect to that EC2 machine. So what are we going to do? We go back here. So this first tab is where you kept your PEM file. So I'm not touching it. Second tab is where PWD shows the path. It is where our first tab project is there. So I'm not touching that also. Third path is where we will try to connect to AWS. Third path. Okay, third tab we created. So it is just about working in an organized manner. So don't touch this. because we need to take the jar file and go there. So I kept this also open. Plus at the same time, one more tab, and here we will try to connect. So I just pasted it, the command here. SSH-I, take your PEM file and to this account, try to connect to this IP. Let's go. Okay, do you want to connect? Yes. Okay, we are able to connect, guys. Just observe. Earlier, when we are working in local, this left-hand side prompt looks something like this. Now, when we are connected, it is changed. Means this machine, this tab is not your local machine anymore. This is a AWS cloud, the virtual machine. This is the Amazon Linux virtual machine. So what is our conclusion? Using this command, we are able to successfully connect to AWS EC2 machine. Wonderful. So if today you are doing some setup like this, then you can try it out. But yes, we are able to connect. Okay, second part is done. Second part is done. What is that second part? Let us put this. We will copy this again for more readability. Next, connect to EC2 machine, done. We learned a lot of things in that. We learned about how to secure this private key. We learned about chmod command. It is used to override some permissions, and then you can further explore further using SSH. This command, we need to use the private key, and then where you want to connect, and then we were able to connect. And from Mobaxterm, we connect. A lot of new things we discussed in this connection journey. Mobaxterm we launched now itself. Okay, fine. So now you can run all your Linux commands. ll, date, pwd, clear, okay, ls, everything is available. Your Linux basically, right? It's a Linux machine. Fine. So the tip here is every developer should know Linux command. Basic Linux command is mandatory for every developer. Basic Linux commands are mandatory for all developers. So whatever we are doing it live, those commands you should definitely know. Okay, so fine, some basic commands. I can put it here in the IDE shortcut. Linux commands. Basic, what everybody is supposed to know: ls, ll, date, di, not sure, dir, pwd, clear, mkdir, rm, del. Okay, basic things. Next, tail command, grep command, these are additional things. Vi editor. Okay, these are some things which is must have for everybody. Apart from this, cp, scp, ssh, all these commands everybody should be aware of. Master it. It's very basic, very common, but practice is needed. The more you practice, you will get hands-on. But yes, this vi editor will take some of your time. Please practice that. Go to ChatGPT, it can guide you. Go to YouTube, it can guide you. But prepare and do it. It's very basic and very much required. Okay, fine. Next, you go here. We are in the machine. They go. One thing about this machine is, if you don't use it for some time, machine AWS will reset the connection. So time and time again, you have to keep using it. If you leave this machine for a long time, basically you will lose the access for this one. So it will reset. Again, you have to do an SSH and then try to reconnect back again. Okay, fine. Just be aware of that. Okay, now what is our next aim? We go back here. We are done with this. We are done with this. Next, we need to install Java. Before installing Java, can we check whether Java is already running or not? If you are aware of all these things, good. If not, go to ChatGPT. How to check whether Java is running on Linux machine? And you will find there is some command called as Java space -- version. If you do this, no, it is not able to find the Java installed here. Okay. Now you give it to ChatGPT. Okay, how to really install Java in this machine? Okay, you can give this kind of a statement. Let's say I will do an exit. Let's try to reconnect. This is a Amazon Linux 2023 machine. Give an enter. Go to ChatGPT and ask a question. How to install Java 70 on this in AWS EC2 machine? Okay. Let's see what command it gives. So it is guiding. First, you connect using your security key. We already do that. Next, check the version. Okay, so you can already do that. Instead of 2 hyphen hyphen, you can do 1 hyphen also. Fine. So we connected. Let's do it like this. No, so Java is not available. Okay, fine, not available. If you want to now install, okay, open JDK related Java version. So you can simply do it like this. So internet has the solution. Explanation. Amazon Coreto is AWS own open JDK built. Okay, it is fully compatible and production grade. It automatically sets up the environment. Means AWS team has given a open JDK version of Java, which you can take. If you want to use Oracle version, you can work with ChatGPT, how to set up the Oracle version, and you will find it. But otherwise, this guy is saying, using this kind of a command, you can install Java 17, okay, which is going to be an Amazon provided Java 17. Fine, let's use that for our verification. It is anyways compatible and fully production grade, so we can take it. One thing you need to be aware, sudo means it makes you a root user. So sudo makes you a root user. So how to install Java? Connect and then run this command. This is what ChatGPT said. We don't know whether it will work or not. So we have to experiment. So we will copy this. So we will go back to this machine. Java version is not there. Okay. So what we will do is we will just type like this and then enter. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. It is starting to install it. Very good. That's what. How you find all these things? By reading. Internet has the solution. Even though you don't know, doesn't matter. Internet knows it. Think logical. Java is needed. Java 17 I want to install. First, you will check whether it is there or not. If it is not there, you will find how to install. What are the ways available? Now you realize, oh, AWS team has given an open JDK version for 17. You can take that, and with that, you can continue further, right? So that is one of the way. Okay, you installed it. We ran that command. It is showing complete. Is it really there or not? Let's verify once again. How do you verify? Okay, Java space version. You type it again, and then it should say it is available, and perfect. Java 17 is available. Okay, so that is pretty good. We are done with the install the Java part also. Okay, fine. Now this is taken care. I am doing an exit once more here. Next, 2 steps are completed. We are done with install the Java also. These are the commands to make it happen. Next, what is the next thing? Copy the jar file to that location. But we know, in order to copy the jar file, guys, yesterday topic itself is coming into discussion now. Our next step is this, copy the jar file. First, we need to create environment specific jar file. If you are using Maven profile, how do you do that? If you are using Maven profile, how do you create it? Let's say EC2 machine is for dev environment. EC2 is our dev environment. For QA environment, some other IP will be there. For UAT, some other IP will be there. Right now, we know that this EC2 machine is a dev environment machine. So what will be our steps? In your local machine, you will do mvn clean package -p dev. So you are building the jar file for the dev environment. So you can use some command like this. And then you will copy this jar file to EC2 dev machine, right? And then comes, you will start it. So in order to copy this, it is a 2-step process. First, you build the jar and second, you copy it. So we need to already yesterday itself we completed building the jar using profile and everything concept. So we need it. So what are we going to do? We go back here. Everything is very interesting. If you're seeing all this for the first time, wonderful. Okay, a lot of new things you will learn. If you already know it, now you know. All this has to be practiced. It should not be one time thing for you. In interview, when you say you are working on project, confidence is you know how to connect to AWS, how to do deployments there, how to do restart there. Basic of Linux knowledge will be clear. All these networking, some basic knowledge will be there. So along with your application development, this everything goes as default. Okay, so that is where companies say work on projects, work on projects. So you get full end-to-end exposure about how to work on a project. Fine, chalo. So here we are. And in 1 week itself, we can cover so much. So you can imagine how much you can learn every single day if you are really in the right direction. Otherwise, 6 months will pass, still basics. Core Java aata hai, string handling, I am just there. Collections, I am still there. Arey, when will you become ready for real-time projects? Right? So more work is required from our side. Please understand that. Right? Fine. Let's continue. So we will build this. Right click, run as Spring Boot. Clean package -p dev go. So it's the same yesterday code, nothing is modified, same property file, same profiling concept. Maven profile is there, Spring profile is there. Today is the final day of week 1. So whatever I have coded here, I will upload this zip file into Google Drive and share it into our WhatsApp groups. Okay. So if you want it for reference, you can have it and then you can practice at your side also. But ideally, you should code all these things. Then only you are ready for a solid work and debugging, right? So please build it from your side. Use this only for reference. That is fine because you're at the beginning, so you might need some guidance. That is where I share recordings plus the live code, so you can refer and spend more time in thinking and doing things at your side. Jar is prepared. Okay, this jar is available in target folder. Already we are here in local machine. Okay, we are here in this place. Just now under target folder we created the jar file. Okay, so we want to now copy the file to that location. Okay, now let's try to take this. In order to copy the file, so this is done. Now you want to copy. Command here is SCP command, remote copy. If you use some other tools, WinSCP and all, you can do drag drop and then you can copy. But otherwise, try to habituate with these basic commands. It is required commonly. 2-3 commands are only there, so it is easy to learn also. And SCP, the basic syntax is SCP source destination. SCP. Next, what do you want to copy? Source. I want to copy this local machine jar. Where do you want to copy? Destination. You need to specify. Okay. Now, this command you can keep enhancing. You want to securely do it. So you will do SCP-I, SCP-I, and then you will provide your PEM file. And then you will say, what do you want to copy? Source and destination. Source is going to be jar file in our case, and then destination details. So if you further enhance it, I'm just improving the syntax here in front of your eyes. So PEM file, your source we will say our jar file, destination we should say, which is it? EC2 -user @IP, right? This command that we prepared, how did we connect? We can take inspiration from this command and finalize this. SCP command will become SCP-I. Our security PEM file is here. Security PEM file is here. Okay, source. We need to provide the jar name. We will put it. Destination is this one. We need to do it on EC2 user and this IP. Very good. Okay, what is the path? Where do we want to put it? So let's assume on this EC2 machine, whenever you are connected to this EC2 machine, You have to decide, right, which folder path it will be. Let's say you want to put it here on this location. So some location you will finalize in your project, and in that location people will put the jar file and they will execute it from there. But let's say we want to run it here, so this becomes the syntax. Okay, so SCP securely, which source file, which destination file. Okay, now our source file is nothing but available. Let's say here we are LL. So in target folder slash our source file is available, which is this one. So we take it like this. So this is how you form syntaxes, by thinking logically what is your situation and how you are supposed to do it. Okay, now if you are finding it too hard to do, now you can go back to AI, and that is where AI is there to help you out with all these things. Okay, give me SCP command to copy my file .jar to EC2 machine, okay, with some security PEM file. At least this, if you are logical, if you can think, you know what you want, then you can go to internet, which is going to help you with the syntax. That's it. Work is done. This is what we have done right now. This is what we have done. SCP-I, the PEM file, source, and then destination. Destination is EC2 at the rate, whatever is your IP, and colon, you have to put the path. That is what we have done. So whether you are aware of these things or not, internet knows it. You just have to be logical in the times of AI. If you cannot be logical, how will you be able to use this tool? So please be aware of that. You need to think smartly and progress accordingly. Fine. So we kept something similar itself. It is even guiding you. So if you make some mistake, it is guiding you what PEM file, what stuff, and it is helping you with a proper syntax also, explaining you how it is going to do all that also, right? And then it is giving what AWS said, give the ch mode 400. Why it is giving it like that, it will tell all those things also. After copying, connect to via SSH and verify. So it end-to-end journey, guys. Learning anything is so simple. You just need the right guidance, and then you keep moving and digging more, and you will find much more details. Okay, so take it up like that. So let's try to copy it using this command. If there is a syntax problem here, we will face some issue, but otherwise, let's see how it goes. Fine. Paste it. Okay, wait, hold on. We are under target folder, so we need to go one level up because we have written target slash. So we need to go one level up, and then we say target slash that jar, and then you copy. Let's see. Perfect. Time to copy. If there would have been any problem anywhere, it would have, but now there is no problem. It is copying it 100% done. Okay, fine. Let's go here and let's verify. LL, yes, the jar file came. We are able to move the jar file to this location. Okay, fine. Let's continue. There is one tricky thing here. Please note that. Okay, we copied jar to destination. Okay, very good. Now let's observe the second thing. You run the same command one more time. Okay, so we go back here. Same command. We are trying to run one more time. What it is saying? Permission denied. Okay, why exactly? First time it allowed, second time permission denied. What is wrong? Okay, you need to understand. When you copied it for the first time here, look at the file permission. For this EC2 user, this guy does not have write permission. Just see, it only has read and execute permission. R is there, X is there. Now we are getting into these permissions. In your Linux knowledge, wherever in college or wherever you would have learned, yes, this permission means read, write, execute. Currently for this EC2 user, only read and execute permission is there, write permission is missing. Because the write permission is missing, automatically when you are trying to write a new file, just imagine old file is there, on that you are trying to write a new file, it is facing error because you don't have permission to do that. Now you can take it and you can give it to chat gpt if we are facing this problem, but you need to be able to logically understand that. Okay, so we will copy this statement and we will go back to chat gpt and we will ask, okay, we have below file in EC2. Okay, looks like there is problem with permission when I am trying to again do SCP, it's saying permission denied. Give the context properly. Okay. Okay, what is the fix? The common issue with permissions. Just see, you can read and execute. You can read and execute. Write permission is missing for the owner. Okay, how exactly you do that? How exactly you can do that? You should see something, file, the folder permission, something, how to fix it? Okay, remove chmod or change permission. Two ways to fix it. It is saying you delete the first one. So whenever you freshly copy, it will take care. But otherwise, you can use this to change the permission. What you are saying, okay, add write permission for the owner. Nothing but whoever is the main user of this account, EC2 user. For the EC2 user, you are now plus means adding, W means write permission. So I think now we can understand that what does this mean? R means read, W means write, and X means execute. So currently, write permission is not there. That is what has caused problem. Now we can assign something like this. Let's say to the user, we want to give write permission. Let's see what has happened with this command. Yes, earlier, just see, R-X was there. Now RWX is there. Write permission is there for the user. Now let's try to copy it again and let's try to, again, that is where chmod, Linux basic people should be aware of. Okay, it is copying again. So again, all these things should be clear for every developer. And even at level, these are not now hyphen do things. This is something basic, because every time you write a functionality, you will deploy it on some environment and test it. That if you don't know all this, how exactly then you tested your environment? Because application building is not just coding, it is about executing it, testing it, checking the logs, checking what functionality is, and is your code working as per functionality. That full work is a professional work, not just coding. Coding is one part, but full testing, execution, completion is the developer job. So we need to be aware of all this. Fine. So now it is copied and we can see the changes are available here. Okay, super. What was the command, guys? We copied this command. So I will paste it for our notes also. Okay, this is the command. Default write permission is not for the user. You need to assign above command so you can override the jar file. Okay, when doing SCP again. Chalo, very good. We are done with the next step also. Let's copy this everything. One by one, we are learning new topics as we are going through the process. We are done with copying this as well. Okay, it's still not done. Still, we have to do more stuff here. No, we are done with copying. We have not done with this. Now we need to do the remaining two final steps and then our AWS work is going to be completed. Okay, what is that? Execute the service there. How to execute the service? Okay, no problem. We learned that way yesterday itself. Java space -jar, and there we installed Java command. So we can run this command there also, Java space -jar, and then filename.jar, filename.jar. Like this we can do, right? So chalo, let's run it. So we go here. Here we are, ll Java space -jar. This is our filename.jar. Enter. Just see, we build for dev profile is coming, and yes, the application is up and running. So how did we execute it? Java space -jar. Okay, fine. That's the base syntax. Whatever is our jar file is this. So we use this command and we are able to execute the jar file. Okay. Now, understand one thing here. Currently, whenever we were using the command, it was giving us that kind of prompt back again, but currently it is not releasing it. That means currently it has completely occupied my terminal. Service is up and running, but if I do Control-C, or if my laptop is somehow crashed or shut down, I need to release this thing properly, which we have not done. And just see, I did a Control-C, now it's gone. Means if you run directly with the command Java space -jar, it has occupied your terminal. If something goes wrong here, you close it, your service will come down. We are not using AWS so that our laptop should always be up and running also, right? We might just run it and close this, and it should still keep running 24/7. So there is a problem with running it as Java space -jar. So what is it? If you run it as Java space -jar, it's not releasing the control. Releasing the control. It's not releasing that. Abhi, if it is not releasing it, how exactly we can further leave this laptop, right? So we have to then keep it open, keep it active, and work with it. If by mistake we do a Control-C, if you do a Control-C, it is closing the connection also. The service is coming down. Then service is coming down. So this is not the right approach. We need some further mechanism. Okay, what is that mechanism? We will need a different command. Okay, run this Java application as a background process. How do you do it as a background process? There is a new command for that. Nohup is the command. The syntax of nohup command is nohup, here whatever command you want to write, and then @. If you use this kind of a command, your whatever command you write, it will run it as a background process. You don't have to worry about this Control-C operation, and you can shut down your laptop and leave anytime. Not a problem. So our Java command, we need to run it like a nohup command. Please be aware of that. So our command is going to become something like this. Nohup, this one, and then this kind of command will go. Okay, like this. If you run it like this, then the process is going to run as a background process. Okay, let me try to copy this. So let's copy this command. Let's go back here and clear, and then paste this command, and then enter. Okay, what has happened? Just see, it is a background. Now we can run the other commands and everything. But we want to see the log messages. Did the service come up, not come up? So observe, it is creating another file in which it is printing the log statements. So if you do ll now, just see, there is another file created here, and in that some log statements will be there. If we do vi, that is where vi editor knowledge is required for every developer. Vi nohup, you can open the file using vi command and then enter. Just observe, now the file is ready. Now you can scroll through this and understand, yes, we started a service, dev profile was picked up, and we were able to properly run it. Okay, so by this way, fine, we can be sure that the service is up. Okay, fine. When you run like this, your Spring Boot application runs as a background process. Runs as a background process. Okay, by default, logs are coming to NoHub. Learn the VI editor. Okay, escape colon q not equal to, save and move out. Without saving, just leave. That's how the command is. But anyways, learn the VI editor, how to work with file, how to get inside that, how to come out. It's a matter of 10 minutes. Work with ChatGPT. Commonly used VI commands, where to use that in which scenario. You will get the list, practice it. You can practice VI editor in your local also. How do you know that? Okay, let's say you are in your local. You are in your local. You have written any file here. Let's say pom.xml. You can do vi pom.xml, and then that file is going to open for you as well. So you don't need a full EC2 to practice VI. In Mobaxterm, in your Windows also, you can practice it. Please be aware of that, but practice these basic Linux commands. I just exited, that is fine. Going back here, okay, by default, it created logs here. That is what we understood. Okay, by default, it created logs here. Okay, if you want to change the console log, okay, you have the option. How you can do it? You just need to take this kind of a command and just put something like this kind of an greater to kind of an arrow, and then you just put the name of the file. Let's say first app.log. So what will happen if you are putting something like this? Whatever will be the output of this command, it is going to be written inside this log file. So the default nohup.out, that file you don't basically need. You can do it like this. Okay, that is how you can change. But now you think about this. If we discussed this on the day number 2. Currently, the Spring Boot application is already running here. We can check that from the VI editor. It is already running here. Tomcat started on 8081. So 8081 is already running. If you try to run this command again, we discussed this on day 2. 2 times you are trying to run the same service, it is going to get into problems, right? That kill the first service. So let's check that problem. So you will get that very commonly in your project cycle, which you have to fix. So if you do a command like this and then try to start, okay, we wrote this time into first app. Can we check what is there in first app.log? Okay, just see. Application failed to start. So you will need to work with these kind of screens. And let's say you don't know whether service is running or not. Dev environment will be common for 3-4 developers. Maybe one of the developer came and is running it as a background process, and then you deploy your jar, and then you are facing this problem. So again, that is where on day 2 itself or day 3 somewhere, we covered these topics. Okay, 2 services cannot take the same port. You need to identify the previous one and then stop it. Then only you can start your service. All that knowledge is going to be useful on a day-to-day basis when you are working with the projects. It's all required. It's not just theory. It is daily usage for people. Okay, very good. So now we have to find that service. Okay, stop the process that is running on 8081. How do you do that? Let's say we don't know. We need to go to now again ChatGPT. We know in Windows there was a netstat command. Not sure whether it is there in this place. So let's go back to ChatGPT. Anything which you are not aware of, internet, AI has the solution. Okay. I am running Java Spring Boot service in AWS EC2 Linux machine. Okay. How to stop process running on 8081 port? Give me commands. Let's see what it gives for AWS system. Linux system. Okay, first it is saying use this kind of a command. Using this, we will know 8081 related some process. Okay, just see, you will get something like this. It is saying, and this PID is the process ID. How to stop? Just do sudo kill, and that process we will be able to stop it. Wonderful. Okay, so that's it. These two steps we can do. Okay, if it still don't stop, you can use a force kill, which is kill -9. So kill -9 is like force kill. It will do that. Verify if it is stopped by using this kind of a command. Perfect. It gave us everything. So let's try to copy this. By this way, we can go to our machine, exit back, clear. Okay, paste. Okay, fine. 8081 we ran it. Looks like this is the process for that. 8081, this is the process for that. How do we stop this? Sudo kill. Sudo is like become a root user. Kill -9, and then we can just stop this process. Right click, enter. Okay, process is done. Now it said verify using this command. Okay, one process is stopped. Killed, it is saying, so nothing is there basically. You can verify once more. Okay, nothing is there. Awesome. So that service came down. So two commands we used. Okay, there is another command in Linux, history. If you do history, all your previous executed commands will be visible. Okay, so if you want it to be saved, at least you should log out once and then reconnect. So if you don't log out and then reconnect, it will lose all that history. But otherwise, if you are properly exiting, your history is going to be maintained with you. Okay, fine. Next, so what did we do? First, we check like this, whether the service is up and running. Okay, check what PID for port 8081. Next, how do we stop? You just use this kind of a command. Here is the PID. Now it is stopped. Now we can try to rerun it with this command. It is supposed to work now. Let's check it out. Clear. And now we do LL. And now we do like this. Next, enter. Okay, LL vi first app .log and enter. Let's go to the end. How do you go to the end? Vi commands, basically Shift G will take you to the last line. Observe, now there is no exception in the end, and we are able to see Tomcat started on port 8081. So yes, what we discussed there, it will come in front of you many times. You need to figure out, solve it, and move to your testing. Okay, so right now the process is up and running. Fine. So we are able to, stop existing service and start a new one. For that, you need to run these kind of commands. Okay, badhiya. Chalo. Abhi bhi, like we are learning new things as we go step by step. So this is what is real-time exposure. Whenever you are needing something, okay, what are kind of options you have, what you have to do, and that is where we go to implement that. Okay, consider it to your maybe school or academic related learning. So point is, everything is very much structured, but real-time end-to-end experience exposure is not developed. So right now we are putting multiple things as and when we are needing it. So you are learning the core usage of how to build the system, which things are required, which things are not required. And that exposure is actually where companies say, work on real-time project. So where all your knowledge combines together, chmod, Linux, cloud, Maven, Postman, coding and execution, killing a port, starting a new service, everything comes together. And then you are building the new system. That is where real-time exposure is required. Okay, fine. Chalo, we are done till this point. Okay, the service is started. Next point to learn here. When we start the service in our local machine, what happens? Every time we are doing testing, new statements are printed. right? And you're able to see that currently all those new statements are printed inside this file, right? Currently everything is going to be printed inside this file. But when you are doing your testing here in your local, if you get new statements here printed, it is easy to read. Okay, what is the point that I'm trying to make? Let's say you start this application, right click, run as, and you run the application. Locally, I am running. Okay, in my local machine, when we are running, what happens? Just see. We can give some enters here. Whenever we test new things in local machine, these new statements are also printed. So while doing the testing, whenever new statement comes, we can focus on that and understand with my request, it processed like this, right? Now we give enter. Now, again, I am testing once more. Observe, new logs are printed whenever we do the testing. It becomes easy to test. Currently, with AWS, what is happening is all these new statements are going inside this log file. So when you are doing testing, we will not get this real-time view about what exactly are new messages when you are doing the testing, which is really a bad thing. So if new things are coming, your focus will be on only these 4 lines, and you can understand when from Postman, I called this, only these are the statements, you will read only this piece. That somehow we have lost here. For that, there is another command called as tail command. That is where the need of tail command. Okay, the way your console is not closing, like this, tail command is going to keep your file open so that you can test it. For example, you will do something like this, tail -f, and then give your file name .app. Just see, it opens it up the way you have it in your console. Now, when you are doing the testing, it is going to print the new statements. It becomes easy for usage. Otherwise, just opening file every time will kill its readability. So very commonly, people will use this kind of a command. Everybody should be aware of it. Okay, so that's the next point. We will be running tail -f. Okay, it will show you the new statements when it is printed on your log file. Now, how to get out of it? You can do Control-C, but still no problem. Your process is still running behind the screen. 24/7 it is running. Only tail command you stop. You did not stop. NoHup is running your process. How do we verify that? Okay, there is another shortcut, Control-R 8081. Just see. When you do Control-R, it searches from all your past commands. So I did a Control-R, typed 8081. It gave me the full command. So you don't have to always remember the full commands also. Control-R is the shortcut in Linux. It will give you the history. From the history, it will search the right command. Okay, very good. That's okay. But just observe, yes, currently 8081 is up and running. So the process is running. Tail, when we do tail, it just open the log file. If you do Control-C, the process is still running. Only the tail operation closed. We need to be aware of these basics, how it is all working. I do a clear, and then we again start with tail now. Okay, let's see history. Okay, tail -f, first app.log, and then log. Okay, okay, fine. So it is showing in this manner. Okay, now we are done with the final step. Now comes the last one. Let's see, run it there. We are able to successfully run it there. So we are done with this. In every step, we learned something new. So we are able to run it successfully. We learned a lot of command shortcut there. Now the final thing comes, test it from local. Nothing but from local Postman, we want to call it. That is the final step for today's session. Take guys, how to run it in local. Again, it is going to take next 15-20 minutes to do that. So for today, we will not be doing it. It's already 1:20. We will showcase that in week 2 or some other time later. But for now, you can just watch this today's session and see how to make it possible. All these no-hub commands, tail commands, it all can be done in your Windows machine also. Okay? So you can practice all these things in Windows, figure it out how to do that. You can work with ChatGPT. How I can practice all these commands in my local machine? ChatGPT will give you the guidance. Take it and practice it by yourself. Fine. Let's just look at last thing. Maybe in the next 10 minutes we will complete. Then we will take the attendance and close the today's session. Fine, fine, fine. Test it from local. Okay, how do you test it from local? There are multiple aspects which will come into picture here. Okay, Control C. The first aspect is, currently this is our endpoint. Okay, I'm not changing this. Let's duplicate this. Right click, duplicate. Means I'm creating a copy. Whatever was there, I created a copy. Go to the body, it is there, body. We can call this EC2, EC2 add. So it is more clear what we are basically doing here. Okay, EC2. You just have to change, instead of testing it in local, we learned this earlier, the server IP where your Spring Boot application is running, that needs to be specified. Guys, what is our server IP here? We are running it in AWS. Our server IP is this one, public IP. So accordingly, this becomes our destination. Okay, this becomes our destination. Fine. So you just have to point it to this and try to make a call. Okay, let's check it out here. What we will do, tail-f first app.log, you put it like this, and then you go to Postman, and then you try to connect to that and make a call. Guys, observe what has happened. Something has gone wrong here. It did not print any statement here, and we are not getting any response. It's just timing out. Means this URL was not able to successfully connect to your Spring Boot application. This is how your debugging skills will start improving. Just see, connection request timeout. It did not reach basically. Now think like a developer, think like software engineer. How did this request timeout? Start thinking logically. Okay, when we did this, request timed out. We were not able to reach to log file. No statement is printed in the log file, right? Means it did not go to the Spring system at all. At least some statement should have been there if it reaches Spring. What does this mean? Okay, some problem happened. Some problem happened before your request reaches Spring Boot. Okay, what is that problem? That we need to figure out. Okay, let's try to do some dissect. First of all, we know that when this happens, it is going to see in this public IP, in this public IP, okay, I want to connect to some service which runs on 8081. So step 1 is going to be like this. Step number 2 will be whatever service on 8081 should be processing HTTP request on 8081, and then third, hand over to Spring Boot. This is what is the basic expectation. So when this has not happened, two things can happen. One thing is there is no service running on this on 8081. That is one suspicion. Means currently, this is how you debug. You think logically, chain of thoughts in AI model, right? Chain of thoughts. You break down the problem into smaller steps, and now you're thinking, okay, whenever you are trying to do this, okay, is any service running on this on 8081? This on 8081 and serving HTTP. So can we confirm that? Yes, we can confirm that. We know that it is working. How do we know that? 8081, when you do this, just observe, yes, it is up and running. So service is there, still not able to reach out. We will not even discuss whether Spring Boot is triggered or not, because service itself may be not reaching. So Spring Boot, if it goes, log should be there. So we are suspecting it is not able to reach our service itself. So our analysis, root cause debugging is happening here. Since it didn't print any log, so it did not reach Spring Boot. Means the problem is before this. So then we saw, okay, service is running. So now our current situation is 8081 is running and Postman is not able to call it. Okay, now this kind of problem, you need to take it to ChatGPT and ask, hey, what might be happening? And ChatGPT is going to tell you, hey, did you know security groups, firewall? Okay, during your week number 1, day number 5, Tausif and you guys discuss this firewall rules. Whenever some incoming guy wants to connect to your system, you need to enable firewall. You did SSH SCP with 22. Now you are saying, I want to access 8081. Did you do some setting for that? If you have not done that setting, how are you going to get inside the system? How can you do the testing without really enabling that? That kind of guidance ChatGPT is going to give you. And then you need to be like, okay, so every port which we want to connect from outside, we need to configure it. Yes, it needs to be configured. Okay, how to do that? Okay, no problem. You just go to EC2 in the security tab, okay, in the security tab, you can scroll down. There will be inbound rules. Currently, there is only one rule, 22. Okay, you can somewhere launch this security tab in a separate tab, launch security group in a separate tab. In inbound rules, there is only one right now, 22. You add edit inbound rules and you need to add a new rule, custom TCP. So it's a custom port that we are using. Port is 8081, means we are saying allow 8081. Okay, from where should you allow 8081? You choose that. Allow it whether only from my IP. In that case, only from my laptop, I will be able to connect to this machine and perform via 8081. If I say anywhere using IPv4, it's one format. So anywhere, wherever IPv4 is supported, people can reach out via 8081, means from your machine, you can also make a call. Now, during project time, we have to decide, should we want to keep this open for everyone or is it only company level assets? Accordingly, either the right IP address is going to be utilized here. Okay, so for testing, I say my IP, so that I put it down. Okay, only from my IP address, I should be able to call this port 8081. Means when I go to Postman, it should work only from my IP address. Okay, so if I have 10 laptops with my public IP, so it will allow for all the 10 laptops. If I say anywhere, it will apply even from you trying to call my 8081, it is going to work. This URL will work if I change the value here to anywhere, right? This is how the setup of AWS will be. Let me test it once. We do a save rule. You allow the rule 8081 custom, okay, from this IP, fine. Now you come back here, ll tail-f first app.log, like this, and then let's go here and then try to call it once more. Observe, it worked, right? Behind the screen, real-time logs came and it processed our request and we got the response. So what does this mean? We were able to successfully deploy our AWS Spring Boot application inside EC2 machine. whatever, lot of things we learned in the journey, and able to test it from our postman, made some security group configuration changes, able to see the logs, everything is happening. And this is how testing is going to happen in your all the environments. Okay, in all your environments, whether it is dev, QA, UAT, prod, you will do deployment testing. There is one point to understand here. Till the dev environment, you will be doing all these activities maybe manually, but every time build, deploy, restart, test whether it is up and down, it will take a lot of time. So some kind of automation is going to be there. Okay, build and deployment automation is going to be there. That is where people call it as CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. And people use some tools here called as Jenkins. So what we saw right now is a manual way of working, but as you go to QA environment, UAT environment and above, lot of automation is going to be there. Again, DevOps expertise is required for that. Or once you gain more senior experience, you need to start having handle about these things also, how to do these kind of setups, how to work with these kind of setups. But yes, basic approach is this only. Take the jar, build the jar, move it there, start it, take the backup of the previous one, check the logs whether it is up and not, call it from your postman, check everything is fine. And every time for every environment, you need to do that. Okay? Great stuff, everybody. Let's take the attendance and we will be completing the call today. If you are planning to set up AWS, make sure once your testing is done, you are deleting this machine. How do you delete the machine? You choose it and then you say this terminate instance. Don't do stop instance. Stop is also going to do some charges for you. Basically, go ahead terminating it once your work is done. Next time you can come again, recreate a new one. Okay, but ideally just do termination. That's what it is. So compared to up and running, if you do stop, stop will charge you minimal, up and running will be more costly for you. If you don't want that any kind of price should come, go ahead terminating the instance. Even after that termination, if AWS gives you a bill, you talk to the customer support, okay, bhai, please release it, I was not knowing, can you stop the services, I don't know even how to stop that. They will do it since you are a student, and you need to talk accordingly to the customer support guy. Okay, right now I am terminating the instance also. Skip OS shutdown, that's all fine, and terminate the instance. So generally it will take some time, and within a few minutes, it is going to be all gone and machine is going to be lost.